If you're a runner, you've probably had this exact question before. Do you need to lift? Today we're going over that, and I've got a whole bunch of notes laid out. I'm going to take you through a warm-up, a quick run on the treadmill, and a lift to show you what I'm talking about, why I'm doing what I'm doing, and how you can implement it in your running. So let me give you a preview of what we're going to go over. So you can take a look right here. I'm going to read through this real quick as well if I need to. I will leave a copy of this on the screen. So we're going to go over if runners need to lift at all, what to do first if you do lift, whether it's a run or a lift, how many times a week you should lift, why you should even add it, what movements to do if you are doing a lift, and depends on where you're at in your training cycle and what your goals are. And then what to do if you don't like lifting. Pretty simple. We're going to hop into it. All right. So I think the idea is we're going to just kind of let the camera run and go through it. But it is morning time here for me. I had a little bit to eat, but before I do a lift and a run together, or if I know I'm just not going to be running crazy hard, I like having some calories. If not, I'll have like a goo or something. So this is a Rice Krispie treat, obviously love that. And then big coffee guy. My wife also got me this really cool cup. This says do epic stuff. You should go out and do epic things in your life, whatever it is, whatever gets you going. I support you, go do it. So I'm gonna put shoes on. I'll show you my warm-up series actually. So I'm going to, for me, I'm gonna run before I lift. I'm going to show you a kettlebell series that I do to warm up for running. Just feels like it gets my body moving pretty well. So I'm just going to keep this running and show you the kettlebell series. Okay, I actually just finished the run portion of this. Forgot to put this in earlier, and it'll be relevant. I'm going to do most of the talking during this lift. Obviously, treadmill, you're making a lot of noise. So I'll talk between sets of the lift and go through all those points. I just wanted to come back and let you know before we get into that. So next, you're going to see me warm up and get ready for the run portion of this. So this is my home gym setup. Barbell, rack, pretty simple. Got some bumper plates. I do have my treadmill right there, and then I have a very handy dandy GHD and rower. So to start with the kettlebell, I usually go for something relatively light. For me, this is relatively light. It's a kettlebell that weighs 30 pounds. I'll do like a side kind of angle profile here so you can see what I'm doing. Okay, so we're going to start with just some easy side bends. I'm going to do pretty much 5 to 8 on everything here, kind of depending on what I like, what feels good to me. If I need extra, I'll do it. If I won't, or if I don't feel like I need extra, I won't do it. Do a couple of RDLs. Into some front squats. Into some kettlebell swings. And then just because I like doing them, we're going to do some kettlebell snatches. What you'll learn about me and how I do a lot of my exercising is I do what feels good. to my body. I don't think it has to be anything more than that. When you're doing kettlebell stuff, don't crack your watch screen. So I like kettlebells also because they start getting your heart rate up a little bit without it being super taxing. Also gets the body moving very in a flow state, I guess, which I like. This next one I think is a super underrated kettlebell movement that you can do with any sort of implement. So dumbbell, kettlebell, doesn't matter. But it's rotations. So when we're running, we have to be smooth and we need our spine to move with us. So if you're a really rigid runner, something like this can start to get you opened up a little bit in your back, which I really like. Also gives a lot of stability and rotational strength. Takes a while to get used to. Definitely go slower than you feel like you need to start. But that's pretty much my kettlebell warm up. I'll do a couple of jump ropes and then I will get us into the first question. So jump ropes, I'm usually looking for about 50. You can do it with shoes or without. Sometimes I do one over the other. I like the idea of being able to use no shoes. Let's see if we've got enough room still. Beautiful. That went well. I think just one set of 50 to get the calves warmed up, brain saying, oh yeah, we're gonna do stuff, is really good. And sometimes the kettlebell or the jump rope doesn't want to stay where it's supposed to. It's fine. It'll work for now. Okay. Shoes on, and question number one. So, do runners need to lift? It depends on your goal, but yeah, probably. If you really don't like it, and you're being healthy and getting out and doing runs, cool. Don't let lifting be a thing that like stops you from it, but the reason I say probably is because most people should probably be lifting. Just for longevity's sake. I mean, I think there are so many people out there who, as they age, they lose strength, and then that just makes life so much harder. I think people being afraid of doing movements can be cured in a lot of ways by doing more strength work. So like, yeah, there might be some things that you don't want to do, but I think about going to be a parent or a grandparent, like, I want to be able to pick my kid up and play with them, or my grandkids at some point, and not worry about like, oh, am I going to throw my back out if I go to pick up a 5-year-old? You know what I'm saying? So I think longevity is a really big part of why everybody really should be lifting. Now, from a strength perspective in running, being stronger is going to help. Like, not necessarily saying you need to add a bunch of mass, but if you're stronger, you're going to be better off than somebody who's not as strong. All right, I'm hopping into the treadmill portion of this. I'm not going to make you sit here and watch me run on a treadmill because it's loud and obnoxious. So I'll do like a quick run through or something so you can see what I'm doing. For me today with a lift, I had to take a couple of days off. So we're just doing an easy 3 miles into my lift. So this is absolutely just a shakeout for me. So we just finished that. I actually cut my run a little bit short so I could get through all of this before I have to go to work. The run ended up being 2 miles, really easy pace, not trying to break any world records today. But that does beg the question, what should you do first? Should you lift first and then run, or run first and then lift? I think for most people out there whose main priority is running, you're going to want to do your run first. So the law of task specificity says to get better at doing a thing, you have to do that thing. In context for runners, if you want to get better at running, that's what you have to do. So that's where the priority should be placed, which means you do the run first. Then you do the lift after, if you're doing both together. Alternatively, you can completely separate them out. It's just life is busy, and if you can place two things together, you're more likely to do them both. So this was an easy shakeout day for me on the treadmill. Now we're hitting the lift. Next question is, how many times a week should you be lifting? Again, it depends on where you're at in your cycle and stuff. If you're really deep in like a half marathon or a full marathon training block, you probably just need to be lifting 1 to 2 times a week. And really, that's going to be more supportive work, more like single leg stuff, making sure muscles, tendons, ligaments all stay healthy. The off season, or when you're in a base phase for just kind of building some running base up, that's when I think it can be a lot more beneficial to be lifting 2 to 3 times a week, with 1 or 2 of those being kind of like harder lifts. I just have a lot of experience with lifting, so I would call this, I've got 3 lifts that I'm cycling between. I would call them all pretty moderate. I'm keeping weight really low and just trying to make sure my body's moving well. So that is the priority. I'll have it linked on the screen, and then I'll actually put it probably on Gumroad or a Notion tab or something, so you can take a look at these 3 lifts that I have. Be smart. Don't do anything crazy. If you're not really accustomed to lifting, you don't have to jump in any of these. You can do dumbbell alternatives, you can do single leg alternatives. But if you are accustomed to lifting and want something that will generally touch base on most of the movements you need, feel free to take a look at the program and take what might work for you. All right, so doing day 2, because we already did day 1, we've got front squat 3x8. I'm just doing it at 135, so I feel good. Single leg split squat, this is going to be like a lunge variation. I'll show you what I mean with that. It's going to be 3x6 on each side. Got pull-ups, superset with that, so I'll jump between those 2. And then some weighted swimmers and Cossack squats for range of motion. So I'll just run through this. In between sets of stuff, I will answer more questions. I lift in different footwear all the time. I will never lift in running shoes. So we're going to take these off. I'm going to do my warm-up barefoot. So just 1 set of front squats barefoot with just the bar. And then I've actually got some more weightlifting style shoes. Either use something really flat and hard, or if you have like a weightlifting shoe, absolutely not necessary, but something like this works really well. At the shoe store I manage, people will tell me, like, I want a shoe that I can lift and run in. And I say, those are competing priorities. The goal with lifting is to put force into the ground. The goal of a running shoe is to protect you from forces going into the ground. So they just have, they do different things. I'd rather you lift in like Vans or Converse than a running shoe. For warm-ups, I'm not trying to do anything crazy. Just go into some nice range of motion. I don't care if I'm getting 8. I'm going to do as many as I feel like it. Sometimes I'll do slow and pause at the bottom. Sometimes I'll drop into the bottom and back up. Really just trying to get the lower back turned on. So that movement's just by itself. I'll take some rest in between and throw weight on while I put shoes on. Next question now. Why should you add lifting? Okay, so I touched on this already, but this is why I think you should lift. So at the bottom of the pyramid, it's for durability. That's why I said when you're in the middle of a block, you need less of it, middle of a hard training block, training for something where you're trying to get faster. That's why you make the lift more focused towards stability, quality of movement, and not adding a bunch of physiological stress, because we want to have durability without adding a bunch of stress that's going to take away from our running. If you're like super wiped out from a lift, that means you did something wrong. If you're in the middle of a block, now if you're trying to build strength, that means you're getting the stimulus you want and need. Also, I hit on this earlier, longevity. You just want to be a strong human. So that's the base of the pyramid. Being cardiovascularly fit and being strong is going to help with bone density and everything you need in life to keep being a human, balanced, like anything you can think of. This is for our recreational runners, anybody who is trying to get out there and they want to get better at running. Muscular endurance is a huge reason why I think I've been able to progress as fast as I have. I started running really long distance, prepping for 10K, half, and full marathons in March after a long time sprinting and really going up to the mile. So now with this longer distance in mind, the fact that I'm strong, like I've squatted almost 2 times my body weight, I have power cleaned 1.5 times my body weight. General strength, I think, is a big reason why I've been able to add distance without getting hurt the way I've been able to so far. So muscular strength and endurance are going to go together. The stronger you are, the better you're going to be able to endure the pounding that comes along with running. The converse side of this is if you are not strong, you are more likely to fade at the end of a race when you're doing something that you haven't necessarily done before. So if you are a marathoner, when you're getting to mile 20, that's probably the longest run you've done. Your muscles are going to get tired. You've also probably run that first 20 miles about as fast as you can, given the distance. So having strength in your legs to be able to keep pushing there makes a huge difference. The top end of this is the people who are like trying to smash PRs, have certain like very specific goals in mind. Being strong is going to help with power production. So you're going to be able to recruit muscle fibers better. You'll have a better signaling pathway from your brain to the muscles. They're going to be able to resist fatigue better, kind of in this same vein. You also get more efficiency with that signaling. So that's going to translate across anything. Anytime you're getting better at sending a signal out from your brain to your muscles, you're going to be getting more efficient on a macro sense. So let's hop into our first set of front squat. And I'm just realizing we were running out of time, so I'm not even going to worry about shoes, but we are going to worry about clips. We're just going to get 2 sets of front squats since we're running low on time. In between this set and the next, I'm going to go through the next point. So not going crazy. That was fine. I could probably go straight into another set, but we're gonna break it up. What movements to do? Back to it depends. If you're, again, in the middle of a big cycle where you've got a lot of fatigue building from your running, you should probably be doing more unilateral work and more core stability work. So think rotation, anti-rotation, and stability for your core work. For the unilateral work, I'm thinking like single leg split squats or Bulgarian split squats, if that's how you call them. Doing side lunges, really big. Box step ups, love that movement. It's going to be a lot of stuff that focuses on strength on one side, and then you do the other. So you do your right leg and then your left. That's going to help with stability. Anytime you're doing a bilateral movement, like what I'm doing here, stability becomes less of a concern because you have multiple contact points, multiple things moving in the same system. So that's like why bench press with the bar is easier than it is with dumbbells. Now, do I like squatting, lifting, or squatting, deadlifting, benching? I like kind of all that meathead stuff because that's a lot of what I did growing up. So I still do it. I like it. I think the kind of run or lifting you do should depend on what you enjoy doing. With a caveat, you need to lift heavy at some point throughout your year, right? You should have the ability to go into a heavy strength cycle without feeling like it's totally wrecking you. Next set of squat. I'm going to do a couple more so you can hear my knee because it's creaking, and that's okay. Now, if you're someone that doesn't necessarily enjoy the broy lifts, that's super okay. Just do dumbbell versions of it, do kettlebell versions of it. Like, if you don't feel comfortable deadlifting, don't put yourself in a precarious position. Be smart, be intelligent about what you're doing. If you know there's a movement you're not comfortable doing, don't do it because someone on the internet says it. Do a variation of it. So for deadlifting, don't worry about it with a barbell. Most people don't need that movement unless you really enjoy doing it. You can get all the same benefit from doing like a kettlebell deadlift. So if you've got something you can touch down to, that's fantastic. If you don't like doing barbell squats, doing a goblet squat with really heavy weight is actually a phenomenal movement for you. Don't like bench pressing, do a single arm dumbbell bench. There are a bunch of ways to get strong. It doesn't have to be like meathead gym stuff. If you like kettlebell work, I think kettlebells are one of the best movements because it's so much rhythm and fluidity that I think it translates really well into running. And just so you can hear my knee, because I think it sounds interesting, we're going to do like 3 extra squats. And that's totally okay. Your knees are allowed to sound like that. It's just stuff moving around in there. Also, your lifts don't have to be crazy. It's supplemental work, right? So I have to go to work in 19 minutes. I'm done with my front squats. I'm going to do like 2 sets of each of the other movements. I'm going to shower and get to work. So don't kill yourself to get all the work in if it doesn't work out timing wise. I think that's where people run into issues with just staying consistent in general. Like, didn't have time for a full run or a full lift. I could have done a full one of either, and that would have been totally cool too. But you don't have to sacrifice an entire workout because you don't have time to do the whole thing. I'm going to get a ton out of this. This is exactly what I'm trying to get out of my lifting. Just generally staying strong enough because I am in a big block right now that my running doesn't suffer because of a lack of strength. Sadly, coffee's gone, but that's okay. Go on to the next point. Next two movements, single leg split squat and pull up. Normally I'd be doing the split squats with the bar. I'm going to do the kettlebell today because I need it to go faster and I'll have less recovery time between with the kettlebell. And we got pull-ups. We'll do 3 to 4 sets there also. So just taking this down. Ooh. Moving you guys over to here. So movement quality always going to be the preeminent thing we're trying to do. So I care more about quality than I do about weight or reps done. So I'm doing 3 reps in reserve is what I have written. So we're going to do enough to where I feel like I've got a couple of reps left to go. And then have a heavier kettlebell by just a smidge right here. Borrowing one of these mats for my knee. And we're doing 6 on each side. £35 is probably a little bit light. I might grab both of these kettlebells for the next round, just so we get a little bit of a stimulus out of it. Take a minute here, do our next set of pull-ups. We're going to see if we can stick to 5. We're going to get feet out in front, get a little hollow position, a little better positioning overall. All right, that means we're not doing 5 next time because we had to struggle too much to do that. Form broke down just a tiny bit. We'll do 4 next. Again, don't crack your watch when you use kettlebells. Flip it around on your wrist because the kettlebell will be on the outside. Next set of split squats. One more set of pull-ups. You can also add variations for things. So get 2 rounds of overhand pull-ups. Now I'm going to do one underhand. Sometimes I'll do mixed grip. So a lot of it is adding variation into the movements you're doing. Running such a cyclical thing that I think generally adding as much variety and variation and spice outside of that as you can is really beneficial. So, last set of pull-ups. Alright, done with that. One more set of split squats. We'll switch sides. 'Last movement, we're supposed to do 3 sets of 10 weighted swimmers and 3 sets of 4 Cossack squats. We won't have time. We're going to do one of each and be happy we're getting the movements in. So I'm going to grab some light weights for the swimmer. I'm always using change plates for these. Just trying to get the back moving a little bit. There, 10 on each side, and then we're doing 1 round of Cossacks. Last thing I have written down is what if you don't like lifting? And to that I say, did you always like doing your math homework? And do you always like eating vegetables? No, probably not. But you do it anyhow, because you should. Do you occasionally not eat a vegetable with dinner? Yeah, of course. Did you sometimes maybe not do your math homework? Yeah, probably. Not saying that you have to lift every time or it has to be perfect. Like, clear example, not a perfect lift. But I'm happy I got it in, and it's good for me. So I'm going to keep doing it. It's going to make me better at running. And it's going to make me more fit for life. Done. We now have 7 minutes to eat and shower and get heading to work. One more thing. Actually, I forgot I wanted to do this. Okay, gotta be quick with this. But one other thing to the how many days a week should I lift? It's always going to depend on your goals. If you're a bodybuilder, you're probably lifting like 6 days a week. If you're a hybrid athlete, you're running, 3-4 days a week, and you're lifting 3-4 days a week, sometimes doing doubles like I just did here. If you're a longevity, living life kind of person, you should probably lift once or twice a week. If you're a competitive runner, you're using lifting in a specific way. So it might be more regular, but it's really hyper-specific to your running so that it adds to it without taking away. So this person might be running 6 to 7 days a week and lifting 2 or 3 days a week. One of those might be a targeted strength session. 2 of them might be more like circuit-based so that they're getting different movement patterns in. And again, it'll depend on the time of year. So always depends, but I think this spectrum kind of thing helps illustrate the point of all this depends. Do what you can. We're all out here trying our best. If you got questions, let me know. I'm more than happy to talk about this stuff and give you my take, my opinion. I've been doing this for a long time. I have seen different things work well for different people. And I'm just trying to get more people out moving so they can live longer, happier, healthier lives. With that said, I will see you guys in the next one. Be good.